It's great to be with you. I spent a lot of time over in northern Iraq during the war against ISIS when you guys were fighting on the front lines. Really, the Peshmerga forces, I entrusted my life with the Peshmerga forces. I camped out on the top of Sinjar Mountain with the Peshmerga forces. And so to see the US again just solidifying their support, the weaponry, and getting behind that relationship that is so important. That relationship between the US and the Kurds is very integral. It's gone back, 20 years, farther than that, 30 years, decades, and that needs to be strengthened. And so that is a good move. And I like to see that moving forward, a stronger US and Kurdistan, Kurdish forces, Peshmerga forces, KRG relationship. So it's great to see that. Well, we know, I mean, the KRG, they're the democracy in the Middle East. They are a strong democracy in the Middle East. And I can attest firsthand, they have those Western values. You guys are having elections coming up in October. You guys are going to the polls. You guys are voting. And I've seen, too, the religious tolerance in the Kurdish region. I know that the KRG, they have strong religious tolerance. I'm a Christian. And I went over there and I had, freedom to worship. You see how I was treated as really family when I spent time over there as a Christian. And I actually, one part of what I really love about the Kurdish region and the KRG and the government that they have set up, that they have adopted those Western values, that freedom of religion, freedom to speak your mind. You have the freedom of speech over there as well, and adopting those principles that we are so blessed in America to have in our Constitution. And I know that that is the direction that the KRG and the government is going. And I just want to emphasize too, as a Christian going over there, I don't think a lot of people realize, the Christian heritage and the sites and how important that is to the Christian community as well, and how you guys preserve those sites, those historic sites. I camped out when I was there during the war against ISIS. I camped out at the bottom of the monastery, 17 miles away from Mosul. I camped out, literally sleeping in a sleeping bag, literally sleeping in the back of a vehicle while we would hear the US airstrikes overhead. And we were being protected by the Kurdish forces. That monastery was being protected by the Kurdish forces. And so you guys do such a great job on preserving those historical sites. And really, you guys are a beacon of freedom. You guys are a beacon of religious tolerance over in the Middle East, that people I don't think are quite aware of, and just that strong relationship that the US forces have had for decades, US troops. And if I remember when I was over there, and it was 10 years ago now, there had not been one single American that was lost under the Kurdish protection, under the umbrella of the Kurdish forces. And I could be wrong on that, but I know that's what I heard when I was over there. And so Americans feel safe, no matter what religion you are, you feel safe, you feel protected. They pride themselves on protecting Americans. Once you hit that Erbil airport and you are in that area, you are under their protection, and they take that very seriously. And they honor their guests and they honor that relationship. And I'll have to say that you guys have earned the respect. You have earned the trust of the Americans to give that support to. You guys have had to fight for that. And in my book, you guys have earned it. I've seen it firsthand. I can attest to it. It needs to be. You guys are the stabilizing region in the Middle East. And, when I was there, it was the war against ISIS. I also went to Afghanistan and Iraq. Served time there as well with the American Red Cross. And I've seen firsthand, really, I've spent basically my entire career on really fighting the global war on jihad and the global war on terrorism. And the Peshmerga forces, the Kurdish forces, have done such an incredible job and have given such a sacrifice on the global war on terrorism. And that is a sustainable relationship. And now we're seeing the rise of ISIS again. We're seeing the rise of global jihad again, and the Iranian threat. We are seeing that, and we need to have allies in the region that we know that we can support. You guys, we fight the same common enemy as the United States. The Kurdish forces and the US forces, it's the same common enemy. It's global jihad. And you guys are on the front line. Your proximity, you guys are right there. And so being able to support a partner in the Middle East region that brings stability to the entire region, no matter what the threat is, if it's global jihad, if it's the Iranian threat, you guys are our allies in that region. And that relationship needs to be sustained, protected, and strengthened. Absolutely. And that's, I mean, our US forces that are serving right now, we have 2,500 that are serving in Iraq, in Syria as well. They've been attacked by Iranian backed proxies over 180 times just since October 7th. They're getting attacked. Our bases are under attack. That would never happen in the Kurdish region. They would never get attacked like that. And so it just goes to show into when we give the support to the Kurdish forces, that's in America's interest. That is backing our interest in the region, and our forces are protected. So I think it's a great contrast to look at how our US forces are protected in the Kurdish region, given the fact that they have been attacked over 180 times in Syria and Iraq by Iranian-backed proxies. And the question is, what is the Iraqi government that we have invested lives and billions of dollars to? How are they protecting our U.S. forces in their state, their country?